Hello everybody, I am Engage TV. I do apologize for this late upload, but this video has took me like 4 tries now because every time I do it, something ends up messing up with the audio and you guys can't hear me. So we're gonna go ahead and try to lock in and not waste our time. We will be going over every single relic, and I'm going to do a brief little information about the information that I have regarding the relic. That way you guys can go ahead and figure out which one works for you, as if you never did old school RuneScape leagues before, or maybe this is your first time doing leagues in general on a private server or anything, you might not know what's really about to take place, or you might be stumped, who knows. But anyways, let's go over into each of the relics. Now we're going to be starting off with tier number 1. So for tier number 1, we have Clue Compass. Now these tier 1s are really solid. Clue Compass. Players are given a Clue Compass which can teleport to any stash unit and to follow the bard. The stash unit does not need to be built to or filled to teleport to it. The compass can also teleport the player to their current clue step if they have one. This item ignores wilderness teleport restrictions, doesn't matter because in the wilderness, and this item cannot be used to teleport to an area which is not unlocked. Makes sense. So for the clues, really solid. The fact that you don't even have to do any walking around. Me personally, I hate doing clues. Now, Clue Compass was introduced, and that made it so much more tolerable, because all you need to do is make sure that you have the items that's required for the clue in your inventory or on your person, and then you just click boom, click boom, click boom, click boom, and just you're going through clues very nicely, very fast. Really good for getting around the game as well. The fact that you don't even have to build it, it's just you have a list of teleports that you can go to. Really clutch. Next we have Trickster. Players given Sage's Greaves, which grants 2/3 of the player's agility level as experience while 2/3 of the player's agility level as experience while running every 10 ticks. Pickpocket loot is doubled and converted to banknotes, and box traps provide double loot / experience. Players can burn multiple logs up to 9 per action, provided there is space to do so, and you will never fail thieving or hunter, and you will automatically re-pickpocket NPCs for up to a total of 5 minutes. Now, I had Trickster on old school RuneScape on Leagues 4. I ran a total of 2 laps. By the time I burnt out and quit Leagues 4, I quit like maybe 3 weeks before Leagues was up. By the time I quit, I had 93 agility and I only ran 2 laps. I put on the boots and I never took them off, and I had 93 agility. Now keep in mind, for this leagues, we don't have access to dragon boots via spiritual mages. We do not have access to bandos boots, so that means we don't have access to the guardian boots. We don't have access to any of that. So our best boots is looking like maybe brimstone, or I don't even know if you can get brimstone. I don't even know what it is, but basically for this Leagues 5 Alora, our boot slot is horrible if you are melee, so might be something to look into. And I hate agility. I mean, who doesn't, right? So production prodigy, crafting, smithing, herb lore, fletching, and cooking are boosted by +12. That means whatever level, once you log in, you're going to be now at 13. The moment you start, you'll have 13 smithing, 13 crafting. That's what that means. All inventory items are processed at once when doing a wide variety of skilling activities. There is a 25% chance that a player will make an extra product which will be sent to the bank if there is space. So this is also a really solid option for those who are trying to get the most experience, the fastest experience in the game. If you're going for a specific task or the challenge to get 200 mil in the skill or whatever it is, this is definitely what you want to be going for, in my opinion. Really solid. Now, I will say late game, this falls off heavy. To be fair, late game, all these early ones do fall off because you no longer need to do it. But this one, once you get the items that you're looking for, like whatever you're trying to craft or cook, or once you get all those, it's like at that point, what are you really doing it for? However, it does have some really nice when it comes to going for the 50 mil skills. Eye of the Artisan. These are Alora tiers. These are not in actual RuneScape at all, as far as I know. No, they're definitely not. So for tier 2, you get access to the Drayman Staff. Everyone that picks a tier 2 relic, once you get that, you get access to the Drayman Staff. Eye of the Artisan. Players receive double the usual amount of experience in smithing, cooking, fire making, herb lore, fletching, crafting, and construction. It stacks with any existing multipliers. really solid for those skills. Think about what you're going to do for those 50 mils, etc. Gift of the Gatherer. Players receive double the usual amount of experience in mining, fishing, woodcutting, hunter, thieving, farming, and rune crafting. Really good for those gathering skills. And then Way of the Warrior. This is your combat one. This is going to be players receive double the usual experience in attack, strength, defense, hit points, magic, range, and prayer. This stacks with any existing multipliers. Also, Way of the Warrior says the rate at which players' prayer is drained is halved. So for those who are trying to rush into some PVM content, some bossing content, some raiding content, whatever it is that requires melee combats, this is definitely what you want to be going for. And the fact that you have prayer being drained as halved is super, super solid. But to be fair, XP is going to be fast regardless. So you might not need to go this way, but who knows? It's all up to you. Farmer's Fortune. Players that will have a 20%. So for tier 3, everyone gets the passive effect that minigame points are increased to 3 times. Farmer's Fortune, those who like the farming, or maybe you hate farming and you want to get that extra boost. Players will receive a 20% chance to save the seed or sapling that was planted. Farming patches will grow instantly. Players will harvest farming patches 25 times faster, giving triple the usual yield and turning them into bank notes. This stacks with Hardcore Harvester. Really, really solid. Get those potions, get everything set with that. Treasure Seeker. Clue scrolls have a 1 in 15 chance of dropping from NPCs/implings. The rate of obtaining clue vessels are increased by 10 times. Clue scrolls have the lowest possible amount of clue steps and the max amount of reward rolls. Chance to receive another casket of the same tier when opening a casket, with a chance for bonus caskets to be upgraded to a tier higher. This for those who plan on doing a lot of clues. Or let's say you just hate clues, but you want to get all the points possible as fast as possible when doing your clues. This is it for you. I promise you. I've had this one before, and I also played a time, not for Alora, but a different server, where I did not have, actually it was for main game. For main old school RuneScape, I did not pick this for Leagues 4, and I knew everyone else who I had on my friends list had this. It was insane how many points and how fast they were getting. They were shooting way past me, and I was playing all day, and they went way past me just by having this. Do not underestimate how powerful this is. Arcane Selection. All supply crates from the Winter Tote, as well as resources gathered from mining, fishing, woodcutting, farming, blast mine, are automatically sent to the bank. Players can now choose which farming contract and Slayer assignment they would like. Unlock all Slayer perks/unlocks for free. So this is actually really, really, really strong. The fact that you can go mining and basically everything that you do will go straight to the bank. You don't even have to worry about banking. You can just pretty semi-AFK mining, fishing, woodcutting, farming, I guess, and blast mine. Really, really, really solid. The fact that you can choose your farming contracts, cool, great. Why not? And the fact that you can choose your Slayer assignments is broken. And all Slayer unlocks. So instead of grinding and doing a bunch of tasks to get 400 Slayer points to unlock your Slayer helm, already done. Now these, when you get to the tier 4, the experience rate is increased to 12 times, which is the passive. Now these are going to be your combat ones. You have to pick one to be your main combat style, and the other 2 will be your off styles for this leagues. Now, for meleeers, melee weapons with an attack speed of 4 will have it halved, rounded down. Melee weapons with an attack speed below 3 will have it halved, rounded up. So that means that for this leagues, if you have a weapon that is a slower weapon, that will be much, much stronger. That's what this means. Slower weapons, like for example, DH axe, like if you're running full DH, or the Noxious Halberd, or the Scythe of Vinter, whatever it's called. Those slower weapons, bludgeons, stuff like that, they will be doing so much more DPS than, say, a Dragon Scimitar. This is the leagues where you want to be using a slower but stronger, higher strength weapon. The player's melee accuracy, as well as the melee, ranged, magic defense, and melee defense are increased by 50 times, so you're just tankier versus everything. Successful hits have a 10% chance to deal double damage. So if you was going to hit a 65 using full DH, you'll be hitting a 130. 10% chance at hitting double your damage. Really solid. Players will save 90% of charges they use on applicable melee weapons, so that means the Sathaviter or the blade, the solid blade. Archer's Embrace. Ranged weapons with an attack speed of 4 will have it halved rounded down. Ranged weapons with an attack speed below 3 will have it halved rounded up. The player's range accuracy is doubled. Players will receive 90% of the ammunition they will save 90% of the ammo that you use on ranged weapons, and enchanted bolts have a double chance to activate. So your rune crossbow could be spamming, ruby bolts. That's all fine and dandy, great. As well as if you end up getting a T-bow, your T-bow will be shooting very fast, respectfully. And then for the mages have Superior Sorcerer. Magic weapons have an attack speed of 2, just flat. Every magic weapon, 2. The player's magic accuracy is increased by 175%, and the player's magic damage is increased by 20%. Players will save 90% of the runes that they use when casting spells, including charges from powered staffs. So your Troxic, Sanguinous Staff, and your Toxic Trident of the Swamp. Yeah, there's that, saving all those charges. And players will be given a Rune Pouch and Arcane Grimoire. Arcane Grimoire is used to swap between any of the spell books. So normally it's if you have the area unlocked. But for this league's, I'm almost positive they're going to allow you to swap between any of the spell books, because you're going to have access to 5 out of 6. So if you end up picking Desert, you should have it. But because a lot of the other areas are automatically, like, we don't have access to them at all, I'm assuming they're just going to override that and let you pick any, even if you don't even have it. But who knows? Don't quote me on that. But that's what would make sense, because I don't even think we have access to get the Lunar spell book. So, or the Lunar area, I don't think. So there's that. Now for tier 5, drop passive effect, drop rate increase 3 times. So increased by 3 times. Tier 5, total recall. Players are given a crystal of echoes, allowing the following. Players can store any single coordinate in the world alongside their hit points, prayer, special attack energy. Players may teleport back to their coordinates at any later time, restoring their stats to saved ones. There are various other locations that do not work with the crystal, including instances, certain minigames, etc. So this is really good if you're trying to get back to a specific area to do some type of PvMing. Really good for bossing, as long as it's not in an instance or like a raid. So there's that. Banker's Note. Players are given a Banker's Note, which allows the player to use notable items on it to turn it into banknotes or unnote them. Items must be used on the Banker's Note to activate. The activate option allows players to note or unnote items in one click, and an item must first be used on the Banker's Note in order for this to work. So if you are someone who doesn't necessarily trust your PvMing skills or your bossing skills or your raiding skills, and you want to have basically an unlimited amount of food or potions on you, this is really solid. Really good for people that are new to doing Infernal. Now, what I will say is this is great for learners. If you are a pro expert, you already know that you might not need this. You already know I can manage with my 28 inventory slots and I'll be chilling. I can pick something else. But Banker's Note, really good for skilling as well. Equilibrium. Each time the player gains experience, they will gain additional experience equal to 100% of the player's total level across all skills in the skill trained. Additional experience given by this relic is not multiplied by the league's XP multiplier. If chosen with Reduction Prodigy, each item process will trigger this effect. So this is for people who are trying to get the most and the fastest and the highest amount of experience possible. This is great for people who are grinding for those 50 mil tasks. If you want to go for high scores, get 200 mil in skill or whatever it is, this is what you're looking for. Because basically what it means is if your total level is 1750, then you'll be getting then when you train, like let's say your total level is 1750 and then you're training woodcutting, right? You'll be getting 1750 each time you gain experience on top of that skill. So basically, you know, if you was to chop a tree and get 3,000 experience, you'll also get an extra 1750 every single time the XP would drop for you. Every single time. You're getting 100%, not 10%, 100% of whatever your total level is. So basically, once you're maxing out, you're getting 2277 added to everything that you're doing that's getting you experience every single time. Every single time. So you can see how this is going to be stacking up crazily. Now, tier 6, this is when things get dicey. Passive effect, drop rate increased to 4 times, minigame points increases to 5 times. Now, Berserker, damage dealt is increased by 0.4% for each hit point missing. The player is guaranteed to hit their max hit on an NPC with full health. So that means basically if you are interested in risking it for the biscuit and keeping your health maybe like halfway or a little bit lower, you'll be able to do insane amounts of damage. Insane, especially think about weapons where like for mages, if you end up getting the shadow, you'll be able to end up hitting like 70s plus constantly very fast once you have lower HP. And also, if it's your first time hitting an NPC, you will max out. So if you're rocking full DH with 1 HP, you'll be able to hit whatever the max is the moment you start attacking an NPC for the first hit. Weapon Specialist. Now this is your spec relic. All attacks have 15% increased accuracy and 15% increased damage. The player special attack energy regenerates at a rate of 30% every 30 seconds instead of the normal 10%. Special attacks that cost 25% or more energy will cost 20% instead, such as the Bandos Godsword. So that means that you'll be able to do, 5 Bandos Godsword? Well, we don't even have that, but basically 5 Bandos Godsword specs instead of the normal 2 that you'll be able to do. So keep that in mind. It's very OP. If you end up getting Dragon Claws or whatever, this is insane. Special attacks will always result in a successful hit against an NPC. The minimum damage is increased from 0 to 20% of the player's maximum hit. Really good. Soul Stealer. The player's maximum hit is increased by 10%. For example, a damage roll of 0 to 50 would instead be increased to 5 to 50. Upon a successful hit, there is a 50% chance that the player's hit points and prayer points are restored by 10% of the damage dealt rounded up. The restoration effect excludes multi-target attacks and special attacks. Only makes sense. Keep it balanced. This is still really solid for those who are trying to just stay alive. If you just don't want to die, you're trying to like learn a raid and you just want to stay alive as best as possible, this is it for you. I promise you, this is the one where you want to do Inferno. You want to do new raids that you've never done before. You want to experience and experiment with PVMing, and you might not be like a top tier PVMer. This is going to help you out just that little notch. Just a little notch to make sure that you stay alive a bit more. Tier 7. Now, the drop rate this is the max. This is the final tier. Drop rate is increased by 5 times, and experience rate increases to 16 times, the highest experience multiplier that you're going to get. And then remember, you have the times 2 for the previous, whichever one that you picked for those set of skills. Executioner. Players are given the Sage's Axe, which allows players to instantly kill targets who have less than 15% of their health remaining. The Axe's range is 5 tiles, 7 tiles on long range. This should give you range experience as well, so based on the amount of damage that you're doing, you should be getting a ton of range experience if it's coded properly. So again, this is really solid. If you're ever running a team raid, you want to have one person with this. If there's multiple people with it, it's completely useless. So make sure, and I will say that I can almost guarantee that there will be teams in raid lobbies like TOA, Chambers, TOB, people saying, looking for one that has the axe, looking for an axer, looking for an executioner. So if you have this, teams will want you. Thing is, if there's already a team that has it, we don't need you. We don't really need you. But, Undying Retribution. Upon death, players' hit points and prayer are fully restored, damaging all enemies in a 7x7 area, dealing up to 200% of the player's prayer level. 3-minute cooldown between uses, which is removed when a player actually dies. So if you die, so you pop it, right? And then there's a 3-minute cooldown. But then you die a minute after that, then it'll completely reset. Because then you'll be actually dead and sent back to Lumbridge or whatever. Corrend. Dying with the effect active will not count towards death penalties in raids, so you don't got to worry about ruining people's purple chances when you're just being a total plank. So again, if you are new to PvMing, or you just don't really trust yourself staying alive in certain PvMing things, or you want to get a humongous amount of damage off if you know how to plan it out all in one shot, this is it for you. Undying Retribution is a safety net. And then there's Guardian. Players are given a Guardian Horn used to summon and dismiss the Guardian Thrall. The Guardian Thrall lasts for 30 minutes, deals 5 to 13 damage on most targets with 100% accuracy. The Guardian will appear next to the caster when they enter combat if it's not in sight. This relic works in the Gauntlet, and players can summon a Thrall alongside their Guardian. Reselect this relic to reclaim the Guardian Horn if lost. So the fact that you can bring this into the Gauntlet, really solid. I don't like the Gauntlet, so this is just extra passive DPS. Apparently the math is looking like it's an extra 280 damage per minute this is attacking. That's like the rough estimate. That's what people have calculated. 280 damage per minute for having the Guardian with you. Really good for raids. Really, really, really good if you plan on spamming Chambers of Xeric. Because if you plan on spamming Chambers of Xeric, you'll be able to, you have to do a lot of switches, like use all 3 combat styles in there. This is just going to do nothing but help you out, because you don't even have to bring all 3 switches necessarily, because the Guardian will be doing whatever the NPC is weakest to, it'll be doing that. That attack style versus it. So when you need to attack something and it's weakest to range, you can be attacking it with melee, and the Guardian will be doing range damage to the NPC. That's how that works. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about these relics. Let me know what you guys are thinking about going, picking and choosing. I'll do a separate video. By the time this is uploaded, Leagues has already began. So let me know in the comments below what you chose, what gave you the most difficulty. Do you regret any of your choices? And I will be doing a separate video myself for the relics that I chose, as well as a gameplay video. I am the King Engage TV. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.